Happy Mitzvah Day. I think we've got a few people from Mitzvah actually on the call on the bake-along with us today. I think Silvia and Georgina. So yeah, thank you for joining our Mitzvah Day project. So just for anyone who isn't familiar with JVN, just a short introduction about us. We promote and connect and support volunteers to enable charities across the Jewish and wider communities to do more. So we have loads of volunteering opportunities on our website if you want to have a look. And we try and help charities find volunteers to carry on the amazing work which they do. So feel free to go on our website afterwards and have a look if you're looking to volunteer. And if you have any queries or questions, just get in contact with us. And more than happy to help. So I'm just going to give a short introduction to Silvia before we begin. So Silvia is a London-based cook and a well-recognised name on the international food and cooking circuit. She grew up in Rome, surrounded by her home country's passion for food. And today, Silvia does numerous things. She runs private cookery lessons, cookery demonstrations, gives lectures at universities, and also a regular columnist for the Jewish Chronicle. There will be an opportunity later on in the bake-along to ask questions. But for now, we're just going to go through the baking. I guess, before we start, just to, obviously, because of these challenging times, just if people don't have plastic gloves at the moment, with the baking, just make sure you wash your hands thoroughly and wash them before we start baking. Just to make sure that we cover, that when we're washing making sure it's done properly, making sure we wash our hands before we start baking. So I think that's everything. And yeah, hopefully we'll make these amazing fruitcakes, which you will be able then to give friends, family, people you may know, as part of a mitzvah, and these small acts of kindness, which probably now so more important now than ever. I'm going to pass over to Silvia to start our bake-along. So yeah, the spotlight's in now. Everyone should be able to see you now, Silvia.
Okay, can you see me, everyone? Great. So hello, everyone. I am so happy to be here today for Mitzvah Day. Thank you so much to Josh for organizing this. And Mitzvah Day is a really special day for community. It's something that I've always done in different ways through the years, and lately I've been doing it more actively through my cooking, and before that as just giving my time as helping clothing or food or just giving the time. So thank you so much for giving your time today to be here with me and to bake along, and hopefully then to share some of the recipes and actually the actual biscuits to the community around you in this really special time. So my name is Silvia. Josh gave a very nice introduction of me. We're going to make a nut-free version of the pizza ebraica romana, which is there are some Roman Jewish biscuits. They usually have almond, and if you are going to do it for yourself, then welcome to. I'm gonna start by making the biscuits straight away, because then there's gonna be about 16, 18 minutes of the pizza being in the oven, and at that stage we can talk a little bit more and you can ask any questions. So at the time, I'm just gonna tell you also, I'm gonna bring in my daughters. I'm gonna introduce them very quickly now, and then they're gonna go, and then they're gonna come in here. Come. So I've got Bianca here. I've got twins who are 9 years old, and Thea. Here we go. So that she's a little bit shy, but here you go. So I've got Bianca and Thea. Thank you so much. Okay, so they're my sous chef, and so as Josh said also, you can please all wash your hands, and you should hopefully all have received a list of ingredients and a list of utensils to have ready to go. It would be great to have a wage an idea of how many people are going to cook along roughly. If you can just raise your, I can't see it, but Josh, if you can see through the screen, if you can raise your hand, if you are going to bake along, so that I know a little bit more about the speed of which I'm going to go, so if you can let me know, that would be great. So what we're going to do if you are going to cook longer, I hope you have 2 bowls of different size, a smaller one and medium, large for the mixture. So I'm going to go through the ingredients and slowly prepare them for you. So you should have ready 100 grams of raisins. So we're going to use this in the smaller bowl. Okay, I'm going to put the raisins in here. Then here, pumpkin seeds. That's something because usually I would if you're doing a nut-based version of it, you can use 100 grams of almonds instead. But in this case, I replaced it with the pumpkin seeds, which of course are nut-free, and they really have still a bit of a nutty taste, which is really, really nice. And then I'm going to use some glacé cherries. Now, in Rome, usually you use candied fruit. You find the etrog, cedro, or you can use a mix of etrogs and peel of oranges. And but here it's quite hard. Like in Rome, you would go to the market in Campo de Fiori and find all this the candied fruit. Here it's a bit trickier. So I think the cherries work quite well, and they give both a nice taste and some color to it. I'm going to put everything whole because while we mix it, it's going to break a little bit. Okay, so we do that, and then I'm using some semi-dry kosher white wine, which is a Riesling, or you can use a dry white wine. If you prefer, you can. If you have a sweet tooth, you can also use some a kiddush wine or sweet wine or marsala wine. So I'm gonna put the wine in the sunflower, the cherries, and the raisins. Okay, so you could do that and give a nice stir. So Josh, can you hear me? Do you have an idea? Is most people gonna cook along?
About 15-20 people cooking along, from what I can see.
If you are, just raise your hand, and so they just I know. I'm gonna show you how it looks at this stage, yeah. And the wine is gonna also help. You can the raisins. You could pre-soak them in a little bit of lukewarm water to make them softer, or the fact of having them soaked in the wine, it also kind of softens them, so it doesn't necessarily need to have both. Okay, so we have done that. So that's our kind of wet ingredients, and the vanilla extract. You can add it here, you can add it later. I think I wrote it twice in the recipe, so just disregard that. Now the oil, this one I just warmed it up in the microwave just before we started. It's better if it's a little bit warm, so not hot. Okay, so if you haven't done that yet, then go in the microwave maybe 30 seconds of full power, and you should be warming enough. Or you can do it on the stove, just enough to kind of because of course the density of the oil changes, and once it's warm, it kind of becomes kind of more liquid, and so it will just mix better with the ingredients. If you're gonna have a chance to warm it up, then don't warm it up. It's gonna be absolutely fine. Okay. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna prepare the mixture in the larger bowl. Okay. So you should have the flour. That's half a kilo of flour, 500 grams. So we can put the flour in here. Yeah. And then to it, we are gonna add. It doesn't really matter if you're doing it in a specific order or not. Okay, but we're gonna dilute all the dry ingredients. So we have the flour. In this case, we have the sugar. I always add a pinch of salt in any dessert that I make. It brings balance between all the different ingredients. Okay, so a little pinch of salt. I'm a fan of the Maldon sea salt, so I just scramble it with my hands, and then the oil.
Silvia, I've just been asked a question. Do we need to preheat does the oven need to be preheated?
Sorry, I was there. So please do preheat your oven at 220 fan. If you think that it's hot, then you got it right. It needs to be really hot, okay? And the fan setting it gives that extra boost. So if you haven't warmed up your oven, sorry, I should have mentioned it earlier. Please do preheat your oven. The idea of this pizza romana is that it really needs to kind of golden and almost a little bit burned. So I don't know if any of you has been to the community in Rome. There is this little bakery called Boccione, which is bang in the middle of what it used to be the area of the ghetto, and they sell this biscuit. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. I just want to show you the consistency so far. So you see it's a little bit very crumbly, okay? That's absolutely fine and normal, so you got it right as well. So there are the two elements that you think, oh, am I doing something wrong? Is the oven too strong? No, the oven needs to be very strong. And is it too scrumbly? No, it needs to be crumbly, okay? So those are the two things that also I just enjoy showing you in person. So I'm gonna wash, I washed my hands before. I'm gonna do it with my hands because I think it's much more fun. And I'm gonna just mix everything together, okay? And you see kind of, it becomes like a little bit like a crumble, but actually it's gonna be better. It's gonna be like gonna taste something like you haven't really had that before. And now all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna combine this together. So I'm gonna put all of the nuts, sorry, no nuts today, all the pumpkin seeds and the cherries in here. And then I'm gonna go again with my hands, okay? And then we're gonna create shapes, and then we're gonna cut them. And then when I'm gonna call Bianca and Thea to come do it, they're just really looks very nicely. So it's gonna get a bit sticky. It's okay. You can then kind of wash your hands. It's a mix. It's actually, the consistency is quite interesting because it's a mix of being sticky and being crumbly at the same time. Okay, so it's quite sticky, but still it develops, and that's exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so you're looking for this kind of combination of the two. So you should have some space or a clean surface or a mat, something like this, that will help you cut the shape. So what we're gonna do, it doesn't need to be worked. There's no eggs in here. So actually, one thing that is great, it's a vegan dessert, okay? There's no dairy, there's no eggs. So it's a really nice things to propose as a vegan dessert. It doesn't need to be worked, it just needs to be put together. So what we're going to do, we're going to just take, you divide it in 3, 4, you can just take.
Silvia, just a question, which I just received. Have we put the oil in already? Somebody else?
Yes, I put flour, I put the sugar, and I put a pinch of salt, and I put the oil. And then I mix it together. Now, if you were gonna do the warm oil, you want to just check the oil. If the oil is hot, make sure that you stir it first with a spoon rather than straight with your hands. If you're sure that the oil is not too hot, then you can do it. So I can wait. Is everyone at every stage? Everyone at this stage, or do you want me to go a little bit slower? If anyone wants me to go a little bit slower, just speak up or raise your hand or write it into probably.
I can see a few people raising their hands, just a bit slow, I think.
Okay, so I'm gonna go a little bit slower, and I'm gonna just show you. Now we're gonna create. You see, I took 1/4 or just a lump of it, and I'm creating what looks like a big brick. Okay, like a long, maybe about 5 centimeters. And the length doesn't matter because we're gonna cut it. It's just kind of how high you really want it. Okay. So Bianca and Thea, do you wanna help me to make the shapes of the pizza romana, please? Yeah, you're gonna have either one, both of you, I don't mind. Choose. I've got Thea, who's my usual sous chef. She's got a particular passion for cooking. She's always, and Bianca loves the eating part more than. Okay, I'm going to show you now. Is everyone got to this stage? Or if you want me, I can wait a little bit longer.
I'm just going to have a look and see if everyone can give a thumbs up if they're up to that stage, then that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to repeat this stage anyway until all the mixture is going to be finished, okay? So you're going to see this stage repeated. Yes, you can touch it.
Yeah, I think we're just, if we just wait for a little bit, I think people are just getting to that stage, Silvia.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. So what we're going to do, I'm going to wait, but just to show you. So you should have, 1 second, you should also have an oven tray laid with parchment paper. So if you don't have that, you can go and prepare it. And by the way, another idea, yes, that's a pastry cutter. Yeah, I'm going to show you the beginning of it. Another nice thing to put inside, if you want, are dried cranberries. That's making probably pizza romana an English element of it, perhaps. In Italy, you don't really have many cranberries. But I think it's very interesting because one thing that being Italian, you really follow the food is simple, essential, and it's wonderful because of that. And you have you have to keep it simple to keep it real. And one of the things that I almost kind of struggled the most by starting cooking on my own is to kind of change things a little bit, experiment, try to add one ingredient rather than the other. And so in this case, like the pizza romana is with almonds and pine nuts, it's like, how can you make it with something else? You can. So if you want to have one ingredient than the other, then you can. So if that's all, just the stage where we are at, I'm gonna show you how to cut the things. Okay. So I'm gonna cut maybe 1 or 2. And we're gonna create. So one thing actually in Rome, if you go to the bakery in Rome, the pizza romana, it's usually this stage, this size here. Okay, it's a proper brick, probably even as weight because it really fills you up a lot. Okay, but as to give away a little prezzies, I would suggest to do them a little bit smaller, more kind of like a finger size. So what you can do, you can cut, and then we can make them like this. Here, I'm gonna pass it on. Can you put it on the oven tray? And you can put them next to the oven tray. On the oven tray next to each other. They can really be as close to each other as possible, meaning they're not going to grow. So meaning they shouldn't really touch, but don't worry about leaving too much space. Yeah, that's great. Now you want to create like a square, you can do really as you wish, but you can.
Silvia?
Yeah?
I just got a request from somebody to double check the amount of liquid because I think it's too dry, the mixture.
Yes. So the amount, hold on 1 second, I'll show you here. So yeah, you can cut that if you want, a bit smaller. Yeah, like that. Great. So we have 100 milliliters. So I'm giving you some recipes for desserts. They give you measuring in grams. I for liquid, I give measuring in milliliters. Okay. So we have 100 milliliters of dry white wine or sweet wine or any wine you want to use, and that we put it with the nuts. And the oil is 200 milliliters. Okay, so it's not 200 grams because 200 milliliters is about 170 grams or something like that. So if you are working grams, so you can you can do a little bit. You have to compact them all together very much, otherwise they're gonna break. There. So yeah, just like that. Okay. And so you can it's that's can I eat it? Here you go. You can have that. Yeah, fine. Fine. You can have that. That's it. So you can taste it. Just gives you an idea of it's not perhaps sweet. There's no raw eggs in there, so it's okay. I'm gonna cut a little bit more. So you see the cherries by pushing them and cutting them, they're gonna break in between. I always try whenever hold on, let me cut it and then you finish off the shapes, okay? Did anyone ask about the quantity of the oil? Is it because some are not getting this consistency, or is it because you just wanted to know? If any one of you is having any kind of problem making them, then do let me know, okay? Yeah, that's perfect. Here you go. You can make this is a nice pickle. Here you can make the important. No, you can't have those.
The cherries.
The cherries, the sweets. I know. So the idea is that they feel really compact. No, stop it. That's the last one. The last one. Here you go. What about me? Yes. So you can cut more. No, it's perfect. Just the important thing is to make it compact, okay? So that stop eating it. So the idea that usually you do not see my daughters in my cooking demonstrations. So that's something that doesn't really happen. But hold on, sorry. But today it's Mitzvah Day, and I think Mitzvah Day is something that should really involve the community. It's something that children can see already at a young age, that to give their time and why we're doing it, it's something that it's important. So that's why they're here today, by the way. I hope you don't mind. And oops, here you go. And then we need to decide also where are we gonna keep? Who should we give the biscuits to?
Homeless people.
To homeless people. Okay. Like, do you have anyone? What should we do with our biscuits? Who should we give it to?
Homeless.
Okay. Where are you gonna find a homeless person? Yes, we can give it. So we have one homeless person outside. We live in Kilburn. So we have one homeless person who's there. Sometimes we go there and give him some cakes and.
Silvia, can we see one of them? What one of them looks like? I think it's up.
Of course, yes. I'm going to show you from here, and also yes. Okay, so that's how they look on cake on the tray. Yeah, and I'm gonna show you from close. One sec. Okay, and put them. Yeah, and I'm gonna make one, and I'm gonna show you a little bit closer. Okay, so it looks like something like that. Okay, so it's something that perhaps you wouldn't. It's not that particularly pretty to look at, perhaps at this stage. It's really good. You see, it's really good. So it's a really special dessert. Well, it is a sweet. How would you call it?
Biscuit.
Fruitcake.
Biscuit.
Is it a biscuit? I don't know. I think it's a fruitcake. Really,
It's a pizza.
Yeah, it's pizza. Now the name pizza. That's quite interesting. So you would imagine it look like pizza that you would eat at the restaurant, but actually, any sweets in the maybe up to about 100 years ago in the past, they used to be. It used to be called pizza. I'm gonna put that at the front.
Then what did it call? Then what did pizza?
Why did the pizza become pizza? I think eventually also that has been called pizza, and then it became more popular, the savory type of pizza, and then the sweet that became more kind of like the cakes and the last batch. Okay, is anyone still making theirs, or everyone already finished theirs?
No, I've got a few people at different stages. I think some people are still going.
Okay, yeah. It takes a few minutes to do the cutting, but so let's see how many we can get in a cake. This one, Bianca, can you count them, please?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 23,
24, 25, 26, 27. That's what we got. So every time it's gonna come out slightly different.
You can have them different sizes.
Yeah, you can have the different sizes. Yeah. If you really want them just as a bite size, you could also do something like this, okay? Like a round, and then it's really you just eat them in one go, okay? So no, you can't eat it. But it's okay. Yes, I will attach it. You can't have it. No, stop it. Okay, we're gonna attach it here. It's okay, I'm going to do it again. Okay. No. Girls, thank you so much. Thank you very much. You can go wash your hands. I'll pull it back later to pack it. Thank you. Bye. Saluta. right? Okay, so we're gonna put this in the oven. If you still need to make yours, keep on making them by all means. And just whenever you're ready, just put them in the oven. And I'm gonna be here now to talk to you about.
How long do you need to go into the oven for, Silvia?
Now, every oven is different, okay? So beware, between 16 to 18 minutes. So I'm probably gonna put 15 minutes and see how they are. So some ovens also, they put more on one side than the other, so you can also turn them halfway through. So actually what I might do, I may put 10 minutes because I have my oven that cooks more on the right rather than the left. I'm gonna see after 10 minutes if there's more cooking on one side, then I'm gonna turn it over the other side. So this is how they look before they go in the oven. You can see they're quite close to each other. That's absolutely fine. And I'll come back in. So I'm gonna disappear for half a minute, and I'm gonna wash my hands as well. Then I'll come back here and tell you a little bit more about the pizza romana and about the juice of Rome. Okay. Okay. So it's everyone still making their biscuits. Any question, Josh, from anyone so far at the moment?
So we've got a question in the chat. Another question. I don't know if they heard about how long they should go in the oven for. I know you just.
Yeah, about 15, 18 minutes, but everyone is different. So I just put 10 minutes now and see how they're doing then.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Yeah, so I can see Tanya's got a question. Tanya?
Yeah, hi. For those who might be diabetic, I put in stevia instead of caster sugar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not sure about the quantities, how to convert that. Do you know how to do that?
I always put less in anyway.
Okay.
Because I don't use sugar now. So I've always used it. I always use less than the recipe.
Yes. Okay, that's good. So yeah, no, yes, this recipe perhaps not ideal, but also the glacé cherry then perhaps reduce a little bit the quantity.
Yeah, I don't use glacé cherries. I've used half the amount of mixed fruit. Okay. Is that right, Sylvia?
Yeah. They work very well. So yes, by all means, we can do that. Yeah.
Right. And there's nothing in the ingredients which will allow the cakes to rise. Is that right?
No, there's no baking powder. There's no bicarbonate of soda. There's no raising agents. So what you see is what you get. It's just gonna be kind of the idea is to really cook them thoroughly. When you go to the shop in Rome, in Boccione, you buy them and they'll kind of literally burn the outside. And
right.
That's how they come. But yes, so there's no.
Yes, they're really like a fruit bar, aren't they?
Yes, they're kind of, yes, and they're really fantastic. They last also. They keep quite well for quite a few days. And now the tradition in Rome, so this is really a Roman Jewish fruit cake that usually it's also called pizza di beride, which it's usually given at the time of doing the mishmara. Now the mishmara, it's a traditional Roman Jewish ceremony that we do it for a brit milah, in this case in particular. And when people come and we usually it's like on or nowadays you also do it for weddings and for bar mitzvah, bat mitzvahs, and you usually do it on a Thursday evening before the weekend of the event, or if it is the brit, it's the night before the brit. Okay. The pizza romana, it's usually baked, or most people buy from the shop. Now in our family we have a tradition of baking it. All the women in our family, and my mother invites a few of her friends or aunts, and we just kind of put up a very big table and we make like hundreds of pizza romana to all our guests. So we did so for our wedding, and it's a really nice tradition. So usually something that you give as a cake, as a fruit cake, much bigger, in a little cellophane cellophane package like this, what we're gonna do today. And usually there's also another couple of biscuits made of cinnamon and almonds, I think. And they are quite hard biscuits, and they're really nice. And usually you give this, and it's called kavod. Of course, Hebrew kavod is respect, but to give a kavod, someone is good to kind of thank them, to have come to celebrate with us. So it's something that you give to people, take away to them after they leave the or the party, or the celebration. So I thought that it would be an ideal fruitcake, an ideal kind of biscuit to give to charity today, because I think it's the essence of the frutta romana itself is to really give, to give as a present.
Sylvia, I've got there was I think Anthony's iPad put the hand up. I'm going to ask to unmute them.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Hi.
Hi.
This
Hello.
is Leslie. It's actually Leslie on Anthony's iPad.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, Sylvia? I'm up in Manchester, so it's really fantastic to be part of this. The end result of the fruit bar, is it to be very brown or more golden?
Yes, it's to be very brown, even a little bit burned. I'm going to show you. So I'm going to show you when it come out. So really, in the store in Rome, you buy it and it's black, burnt, not all of it, but quite a few bits. And people say, why? But actually, they just sell like candies.
Okay.
So high temperature. The high temperature is kind of the heat impact, which is going to kind of seal it and really make it super crunchy on the outside. And it needs to be really deep golden. And if it burns a bit, it's all right. But it doesn't need to be pale. It needs to be like a deep golden color.
Thank you.
I got another question, Sylvia. Should we turn them over while they're in the oven?
Sorry.
The biscuits or the fruitcakes, do they need to be turned over in the oven?
Don't touch them while they bake. So if you want, you can turn the tray. Okay, so if one side of your oven bakes more on one side, like my oven bakes more on the right side, so things on the right they tend to have more color than the one on the left. So halfway through, that's why I put 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, I'm gonna go and have a look, and perhaps I'm just gonna kind of turn the tray. But you do not turn the biscuits because they would crumble and they would break. So even when they're gonna come out, they're gonna be quite hot. It's gonna be interesting if we can handle them straight away. We may have to wait until they cool down, and then you can pack your oven. Yes, any question? I can see all the things.
I've got a question. Will this recipe be in your book?
Yeah, yes. Thank you very much for the question. Yes, I'm writing a book. It's called Jewish Flavors of Italy. And absolutely, I don't think there could be a book about Italian Jewish cuisine without the pizza romana. So by all means, it's going to be there. And yes, I can't wait for it to be finished.
Has any other? I can't see any other questions at the moment, but feel free to put your hand up or.
Okay, great. So I'll tell you a little bit more also. If anyone has any question, you can just unmute yourself or
just
write.
drop it in the chat box, probably.
Sylvia?
Yeah.
Hi, it's Tanya again. I'm sorry. It's the mix just seems quite dry.
Yes, that's okay.
That's all right, is it?
So if are you mixing it with hold on a second, can you show? Let me see, because like now I can't see anyone, but let me see if I can do it now. Do you have the mixer in front of you? Because are you mixing it with the spoon, or are you mixing it with your hands?
With hands.
Okay. So yeah, the hands are good. I don't know if I can see the mixture. I'm trying to scroll through if I see how it looks like. But it should feel a little bit crumbly. But if you really press together, you should still be able to make a bit of a biscuit. Are you able to create any shape? Yes, that's great. It looks like I found you. Sorry. Yes. Yeah, that looks great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so that's the right consistency, and that's part of the reason that I really enjoy the teaching and demonstrating, because there's certain things that you can really read in a book, and I would wish even more to actually just make it and share it and feed you all, but that's
Right.
But it's because I want to show you that you can. So it looks a bit crumbly, it looks a bit unusual, but that is actually the right consistency. So
Easy to make.
Can you show us the final one again? How it's supposed to
I
look?
think you're muted.
mine are all in the oven, but if anyone is making theirs, and if they feel like, you see, for example, on my tray, not crumbles, but after
Good question.
I put it together, it does stick. Okay. Oh, my oven is beeping. It's been 10 minutes. I'm gonna go and have a look. So if you want to have a look at yours.
How long are we supposed to cook them for again?
I believe about 15 minutes.
10 minutes. I'm gonna have a look in case I need to turn the oven tray over. I'm gonna.
15 minutes and turn the tray around after what? 7.5?
Yeah.
No, she said 10, didn't she?
I think it was 10. I think
10.
it was 10.
So 10 and then 5.
So 10 minutes and then 5 minutes.
Let's see, this is after 10 minutes. They're still quite pale. Okay, so in the very first,
Don't look too different to us.
She said, what you see is what you get.
okay, so I put mine back in the oven for 7 minutes. They looked a little bit pale to me, so I just turned the oven, I just turned the tray, and then I put another 7 minutes. But I can tell you the smell is really nice. I don't know if you have any baking in your oven.
So I've got a few more questions, if that's okay. What's the best way to store them? Somebody asked.
Yes, in an airtight container, that's the best. And like a cool temperature, so it doesn't need the fridge. Room temperature is fine, but if you have one of those lock click kind of a Tupperware, that's fine, or like a cookie jar, that's also fine. But they usually don't resist; they don't last that long. You cannot just eat them beforehand.
And I saw what is the name of your new book? Somebody asked.
It's called Jewish Flavors of Italy. So it's gonna be a book about it's a family cookbook really. So it's all the recipes that I grew up with, and it is gonna be like a description of general Italian Jewish cuisine. So also looking at the different regions, from the north to the center to what used to be the south, meaning it's still the south, but there used to be a big Jewish community there until 500 years ago. During the time of the Spanish Inquisition, they've been expelled and scattered all around Italy. So I'm going to give a bit also of background, the kind of historical and cultural background of what is Italian Jewish cuisine, and when did the Jews arrive in Italy. They arrived over 2,000 years ago. Before the destruction of the Second Temple, there was already a presence of Jews in Rome, and then they came as slaves after the destruction of the Second Temple when the Romans brought them back. And this is still depicted. I don't know if any of you has been to Rome, or to the Arch of Titus. You still can see all the Jews carrying the menorah in their shoulders when they arrive in Rome as slaves. So Rome is one of the oldest Jewish communities, has been there since then. So the book is really going to give a bit of a historical background and of course lots of recipes, about 100 recipes, and it's going to be mostly recipes that I grew up with. Being Italian and Jewish, food is a bit of a double whammy, and in my family I've been very lucky that both my parents cook a lot and they cook very well, and I always kind of took for granted the great cuisine. And once I went to live on my own, I realized that actually if I wanted to learn and continue eating well, I had to kind of do it more myself. So I define myself more as a cook rather than a chef, mostly because my background is quite different. I studied political science at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, and then I came to London 22 years ago. It's a long time. 22 years ago, I came to do a master at the London School of Economics in politics of the world economy. So my background is very different, but I always had a passion of cooking, and I'm really an Italian Jewish mama, and so I really take joy and pride by feeding and sharing the recipe. And I also have a bit of a sense of responsibility because I'm the only one in my family who actually left Rome. Everyone is still there, and so I think food is really one of those tools, one of those elements that you bring with you and that survives through the generation and what you can kind of carry on. So if although I'm kind of far away, I still kind of eat the recipes from home, and I still cook the same way, and I share the cultural kind of heritage. So somehow the cook is gonna hopefully encapsulate all of it in lots of recipes, and yes, so that's about my book.
I got another question about the fruitcakes. Do they freeze well? Somebody asked.
Pardon?
Do they freeze well, the fruitcakes?
Yes, they do. I haven't frozen them in quite some time. I did it in the past. They do. So if you do freeze them, then take them out and then perhaps put them back in the oven for a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes at 180, just to kind of revive a little bit. Okay. As well, but yes, you can. But you can keep them up to about maybe 10 days in a airtight container, so they would keep quite well. But you can just now. I know that someone the other day said that maybe they were going to use gluten-free flour. Is the person today in? And if so, are you using gluten-free flours? Because I'm very interested to know, because I have never tried, but I don't know if the person is there today. Then please raise your hand and let me know how is the mixture going and how they're going to come out, so that we can share the results with the others, if you don't mind. Any other question? I can see things popping up, but I can't read them from here.
So someone's
Hi,
asked.
I have a question.
Yep.
Yes.
Hi, sorry, we need to unfortunately go because my son needs the laptop. So just want to say thank you so much. But also, can you just clarify the cooking time? I put them in for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to take them out in 10 minutes and check and move the trays around, and then put them back in for another 5?
Yes, so it depends. The thing is that it really depends from your oven, and every oven is slightly different. So if your oven bakes evenly, there's no need to do anything in 10 minutes. You can just put a 15, 16 minutes timer and then see how they're doing over there, okay? They need to be quite deep golden. So if you see that then a 16 then may not be enough, just put another couple of minutes and hopefully they will be
okay. And how do we know if they're undercooked or overcooked?
Well, they need to be really deep gold. If they're not kind of almost a little bit dark, and they're not undercooked. Okay. Not overcooked, they're never, because I could never burn them as much as the shop, and that's the real thing. So you can't really overcook them.
Okay.
I would. The oven just peaked. I'm going to show you how they look after 17 minutes.
Okay. And then I just have one other question. If they're kind of crunchy or soft, I just want to know that we've done it right when we do take them out.
Okay, so this is how they look after 17 minutes. So actually, I'm going to put them like maybe another 3 minutes more if they need it.
It's hard to tell because they look similar.
Come back. Hi, I don't know if you could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they need to be darker than what I showed. So I in the oven. So it's probably so far it has been 15. So yeah, I could another 10 minutes to see how it's gonna be. Probably it can be about maybe 20 minutes even, you know.
Okay.
Slightly different.
Okay. And then, sorry, one other question. When we, the finished result, is it crunchy or is it soft?
So a good question. So it's crunchy on the outside, but the inside is still a little bit soft.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It really tastes like nothing you've ever tasted before. You can't really, I'm not able to really compare it with other things, to be honest. But yes, so I hope you try them. And
okay. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. It was great fun. There were 3 of us that did it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sylvia, how long have the fingers got to be?
How long in the oven?
I mean, no, how long in size? How long the fingers got to be?
In the oven?
No. How long in size? When you cut them?
Yes. What's the size of it?
Yeah.
That is completely up to you. So it should be about maybe 5 centimeters.
Yeah.
Or to say 2.5, 3. Okay, and then the width is really up to you because the original one is kind of a brick that size.
Yeah.
But actually, I've done it about 3 centimeters or 1.5 inch, about kind of wide, and I don't know if you think of, I think in centimeters, about like 5, 6 centimeters high.
Right. Okay.
Or if you want really smaller bites, you can have round ones like this, and they really become just bite size. They would take less to cook. Otherwise, if you're doing the bigger brick, it would probably take about 25 minutes or so in the oven, and they can be about 10 centimeters by 5.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. My best piece of advice is also, besides making them now, if you want to make them again, try to make them within the next couple of weeks while they're still really fresh in your head. That's with any recipes that I do. So I'm going, if that's right, I'm just going to say that also, if any of you is interested to follow more of the things that I do, usually my website is very out of date, unfortunately, but my Instagram page tends to be a bit more. The oven is beeping. I'm going to go and see it again, and actually I'm going to put a mat, and hopefully they're going to be ready. They smell super nice. I hope yours as well. It needs 2 more minutes. Sorry. So it's going to be 20, 21, or maybe something like that today. It's worth waiting. I could take them out now to show you, but it's really worth waiting the 2 minutes. I was saying that yes, my Instagram page is what I tend to have more things, and I have other demos coming up. If any of you is interested, just message me, or you can email me at Silvia Cooking for the Soul. But if any of you has any idea of where you're gonna share the biscuits today, I would love to hear actually. So please, you can either mute yourself and share your projects, or if you you can. I would really love to know how far the biscuits are going to reach, and I'm so delighted that you can. Someone was connecting from Manchester, and that's the positive things about Zoom, at least, is that you can reach a wider audience, more far afield. So thank you for connecting from there. But has anyone got any plans of how to distribute the biscuits locally?
Somebody just asked, after taking it out, do they leave them on the tray or put it on a cooling rack?
Yes, so you can leave them on the tray, and ideally you put them in a cooling rack. But as soon as you don't want to really try to move them too fast because they can break. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take them out, and I'm going to leave them to cool down in the oven tray for a few minutes, and then you can put them in a cooling rack. But there's no rush. Let's say it's not like, you know, when you're making cupcake, you really want to take them as soon as possible and put them in a cooling rack, otherwise the inside keeps on baking. In this case, it's fine because again, the fact of not having any egg or any dairy, it doesn't work. Now it's beeping. I'm gonna take them out. Okay, so the pizza. This is the pizza romana. Can you see? And that's how they look like. I could have even leave them for another couple of minutes, just because I'm really used to that Roman Jewish way of burning it a little bit longer. But they're going to be really delicious in there. So don't bake them less than that. That's all I can say. I'm gonna take a cooling wrapper just to make that. And you can if you, I can try and transfer it straight away in the cooling wrapper. You can give it a go.
I had someone who's just raised their hand. Linda?
Yeah, I just really want, we do have to go now, but I just wanted to say to Sylvia that I've been making the biscuits with my 2 grandchildren and they've had such a lovely hour, and just to thank you so very much. And the biscuits look completely great. They look wonderful.
Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Thank you. Okay.
So that's how they look. It's hot. I'm gonna take off the tray because it's super hot. And okay, because it's so hot, and we also after an hour, I'm aware that I don't want to take more than an hour of your time. Perhaps I'm going to suggest to you to leave it to completely cool down, and then we're going to put them in sachet like this, and we have some colorful ribbons, and you can put a few in there. It's really completely up to you. You want to put probably 5. I wouldn't put less than 5. If you're giving it to a family near you, then you may know how many family members are in there. Make sure you put 1 each. You can put 7. I always add to add them in odd numbers. This is also something that I usually give because I do a lot of food deliveries. By the way, if anyone in London, Northwest London, is interested in food deliveries, then please do get in touch. And when I do my Rosh Hashanah food deliveries, then I always kind of give the pizza romana as kind of a little token. So again, it's something to give away. But if anyone has any questions, or otherwise, I don't think we have the time to wait until they completely cool, because you wouldn't want them to put in cellophane right now, they're too hot. So maybe let them cool down for at least half an hour, and then you can put them in the packages and carry them away. But otherwise, if you have any questions, let me know, as you can finish whenever you want.
Thank you very much, Silvia. That was great.